Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Adopted I Am Healing Beyond Systems episode. Okay, you guys, my name is Rachel Barnes. I am your host and founder of Adopted I Am Healing Beyond Systems. And today, with our conversation series, we will actually be discussing the differences of adoptions, open and closed, foster care, and group homes, and anything else that falls under the umbrella. Reason being is I don't want us to get into these conversations with people, or even my own story, and then you have questions like, oh, well, what is that? What does that mean? What does that entail? And so I want to spend some time today explaining that to you all so then you kind of can either refer back to this video or you can kind of get an idea. And if you already know this is just for like educational purposes to help people who are, looking to go into that space or just looking to know something they don't know. Let's get into it. I will share a little bit of my personal journey with my adoption. So I had an open adoption, okay? And an open adoption is where you can have contact. So that can look like anything. That can look like emails and calls. That can look like in person. Um, I mean, you anything like occasional visits. It's pretty much like you're still a part of the family. You're just placed, quote, what they like to use, placed somewhere else. You were adopted by another family. It's just ongoing contact. I just want you to think of an open adoption like that. My experience with it personally is I knew my biological mother's side of the family, and I met my biological dad's side of the family when I turned 16. A little bit before that, but we will get into those stories later. On my biological mom's side, and I'm referred to them by their name, so y'all will get the gist and y'all will understand the story later. Her name was Tammy. And so on Tammy's side of the family, I knew her sister, which is my aunt. I knew my grandparents. I knew my siblings. And so there was really no boundary there, honestly. Like I would spend the night. I would go to the birthdays. They were invited to the birthdays, to the recitals. We talked on the phone. We were, even still to this day, like we maintain contact. So um there was nothing closed about my adoption process, and it even had started that way before I even had came about, that they already had a relationship. So they just kind of like continued it, is what I see it as. Now, a closed adoption is where there is no identifying contact. And so that means that records could be sealed, information isn't shared, and there is little to no contact after placement. Did y'all hear me? I don't like that word. Placement, we'll get into it later because this is healing beyond systems. I want y'all to remember that. Okay, now let's get into foster care. This is where the system gets very confusing, is what I like to call it, because sometimes you may hear stories of like children bouncing around and like I was with this family, now I'm with this person, or I was in this city, now I'm in the city next door. Like it's a lot of different things. You might not hop counties, but it's it's a lot of moving parts when it comes to foster care. Okay, so foster care is a temporary living arrangement for children who cannot safely remain with their biological families. And so usually the goal at the end of that is reunification. A child might be placed with a foster family with the idea that that child is going to be reunified with their family later. Foster parents are supposed to provide care, stability, and support. Children may move between placements, so this is completely opposite of adoption. And some foster situations may eventually lead to adoption, but many do not. Foster care is supposed to be designed to protect the child while they are in a transition phase. The goal is that, hopefully the family gets whatever situation is going on. Hopefully they get that together, and then they are allowed to, visit and then hopefully reunify fully. But sometimes that does not happen, and the babies do end up in the foster care system. Next, we are going to discuss group homes. Group homes are a residential care setting where children and youth live together under supervision of a trained staff. Okay, so I want you to think of the movie Annie. Annie lived in a group home. It was ran by a strict patron and things like that, which is how they like to sometimes depict what group homes are, is that the staff there are just mean and to the children and don't let them do anything, which I have never personally heard a story about a group home, so I am no one to ask any details about that experience, but hopefully I can have someone on that can share what that experience is like, if that depiction is actually true and is that reality. Group homes often serve older youth. Group homes also have maybe higher support needs, so sometimes they don't have a family placement available. Sometimes these structures are provided with a consistency, and there's a variety of staff and emotional support needs. Supposed to be. There's supposed to be a variety of staff and support needs in these group homes. Again, we hope. So, group homes are a part of a broader child welfare system. So, this is supposed to be a temporary solution. From what I have studied, a lot of children that are in group homes pretty much grow into their adulthood in a group home. And so that goes back to saying older youth, a lot of older youth end up in group homes and then they end up growing out of care. None of these arrangements and systems look the same for any particular family or individual. When we talk about placements and things like that, because I used to work for Department of Children and Families, ideally what happens is when a child is taken by CPS or the system, that they will be placed with a family member first and not be outsourced. That is not the first thing that the system tries to do, unless there's like no one locally. And even with that, they will still try. Like, hey, we know that you are in such and such, but would you be willing? Boom. I've even heard situations like that. And so I don't want people to think that it is like what is displayed on TV and things like that. The goal is always reunification, unless the parents just really have, there's just no way for that to happen. But I have seen it firsthand. The system does try to reunify as best as possible in situations that I have seen. And it can be a long process, you guys. It is not a short process. And maybe one day I will share like some statistics with you all and some studies, because I work with youth and I've worked in the child welfare system. And I will tell you that our kids need us. Like, I don't really think that we understand what they go through and the things that they're battling. And so, if you do work with youth or you do have the opportunity to be around youth, whether it's volunteering or being on the clock or anything like that, just sometimes ask them like, how are you doing, or are you okay, or do you need anything? Because these kids nowadays really, really have a lot going on. They are playing many parts that they should not be playing as a child, and they could be in one of these situations, and so, which is not easy. Every child just wants to be with their parents and their family, and so when that gets stripped from you, your mindset completely changes. Children usually go through that battle mentally of like, why me, why am I in this? I just wanted to make sure that I shared these different systems with you. Everyone is not the same, even within the system. Like, every adoption does not look the same, every foster care system does not look the same. Every group home system does not look the same. I want you all to remember that. I just gave you like the general synopsis of what it is, but there's so many layers and there's so many ways that it can go that it becomes scenario based at that point. And so I cannot wait to talk to you all again. If you have not already, please go follow our Instagram, adoptediam_. If you are interested in being maybe on this couch or anywhere else to talk with me, and it doesn't always have to be on camera, you guys. I know that I will be posting things and whatever the case may be, but I want you to know that this is supposed to be a safe space. So if you're like, hey, I would love to talk with you and just get this off my chest, but I don't want to be recorded, that's fine. We don't have to do everything on camera. Anyone that is on camera has consented to being recorded. And so I just want to make sure I share that, because sometimes we don't have someone that we can talk to, and sometimes our stories are very, very hard to speak on, and you just kind of want to talk to somebody who can relate to your situation or what you've been through. And so I'm here for that, whatever your needs may be. My email is adoptedim22@gmail.com. And please like, follow, subscribe, all the things that you do on here. And I can't wait to speak with you all again. Have a great, great day, and we'll talk to you again.